Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is the Sikh History Series podcast, episode 6, the Shaheedi of Baba Ajeet Singh Ji and Baba Jujhar Singh Ji. The greatest warrior of all time has been raging on now. Guruji and the Khalsa have obliterated the first few waves of the Mughal forces, all those who attempt to siege the fort of Jamkor. Guruji in Zafarnama mentions how, without any warning, these armies formed and attacked, breaking oaths on their faith and being of no moral or ethical code, ruthless killers. But the Guru's Khalsa killed thousands upon thousands of these killers. They killed anyone who dared to step up against them. With deadly arrows and bullets, the Khalsa Singhs decimated many. Bhai Kotha Singh and Bhai Madan Singh, whom were the first two warriors to storm the battlefield, heavily outnumbered, they fight like warriors attaining Shaheedi on the battlefield. Bhai Dan Singh, Bhai Dhyan Singh and Bhai Kajan Singh follow suit and, fighting in the field of battle, attain Shaheedi in front of their beloved Guru. Bhai Mohkam Singh Ji, at the age of 28 years old, entered the battlefield alone against a 1,000,000-strong force, wreaking havoc upon the enemy forces, slaying many Mughals. Bhai Mohkam Singh Ji is Shaheed, taking many wounds and shots and strikes, but fighting on to the last drop of blood in their body. Bhai Himmat Singh Ji and Bhai Sahib Singh Ji were also Shaheed in this war, being shot by thousands upon thousands of bullets as they slaughtered many oath breakers. The Panj Mukte, Ishar Singh, Deva Singh, Del Singh, Ram Singh and Fateh Singh entered the battlefield like a pride of lions, tearing apart the hordes of jackals who tried it with them. They too attained Shaheedi, fighting in the field of battle, and they were welcomed home in Sachkhand as heroes. The most devastating war of all time is continuing. Many volleys of bullets and arrows are being shot from both sides. Kavi Santokh Singh Ji is reflecting on how few Singhs are fighting against so many, how 40 hungry, starving warriors are not just keeping off a 1 million plus force, but slaughtering them and decimating them in this war. Kaviji writes that all the Devte and angelic beings are shocked and in awe of how 40 Singhs are fighting against a 1,800,000 strong army. All the Devi Devte have gathered together in disbelief, and they're discussing what is happening. They mention how the great Guru Gobind Singh Ji is there with a band of 40 Khalsa warriors, and those warriors are all Sikhs of the Guru. They are all drawn in to watch this monumental battle, the greatest of all time. They are shocked that the Guru is so intended he could end this jang with a click of their fingers, but the Guru is choosing not to use their divine powers, but instead they choose to fight this battle without any use of miracles, choosing to fight this war with martial skill, courage, bravery and faith instead. And the Devte are saying this is the biggest miracle of all. Oh, how great is the Guru! He is truly divine, they are saying to each other. All the Devte fold their hands and bow before Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, the Most High, the destroyer of evil, the protector of the saints, the weak and the downtrodden. And now there are some people who may question what Kavi Santokh Singh Ji has written, and question the very existence of Devi Devte and angelic beings. However, Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj confirms their existence throughout Gurbani, and Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our Guru and the divine truth in this world and beyond. Back to Jamkor, and the battle is waging on. Oh, such a war, such great warriors, and such a terrible noise on the battlefield. Metal clashing, warriors dying, crows and vultures are eating the flesh of the dead and making such noise as they devour chunks of meat. The earth of Jamkor is covered in red in the blood of the dead warriors. Bhai Daya Singh Ji and a Jatha of Singhs have presented themselves before the Guru at the top of the fort. They all bow before the Guru and beg, Guruji, please bless us. Please leave this battle. We beg you, please leave this fort of Jamkor. Change your identity and in disguise leave this fort. The rest of the Panth needs you. We can all die here and give Shaheedia, but you, Guruji, we need you. The rest of the Panth needs you. Bhai Daya Singh Ji continues his benti. This is our benti, Guruji, for the good of the Panth. But Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj Ji laughs and says to them, look at the drama of the sword of God, Sri Kharagket. On this battlefield, fight in this war. Now's the time to fight. My children, go engage in Dharamjud, righteous warfare in the battlefield. And then Guruji sends a jatha forward. Moor Singh, Kirat Singh, Anand Singh, Lal Singh, Kesra Singh and Amolak Singh. Thinking of the Guru and seizing this moment of being blessed to fight in the battlefield, they storm the battle. Out of the fort they leave enraged and ready to engage the wave of charging Mughal forces. Pulling out their thick, heavy Tega swords, they slice and dice the oncoming forces, leaving them in pieces on the battlefield. Anyone who stands before them, they eliminate them from the battle. Killing many warriors, they get surrounded and they are fighting bravely in front of the Guru, getting wounded and shot by arrows and bullets, cut with swords, stabbed with spears, attacked from all sides. They are Shaheed, fighting in the battle, and in such beer as they breathe their last breaths while striking at the enemy forces. They attain their only wish in this battle, and in this world, which was to die fighting courageously in front of their Guru. Guruji at this time is also killing many warriors and generals, firing such arrows of death that decimating and devastating the battlefield, taking so many souls, bodies dropping dead. Nahar Khan, a most famed Mughal Pathan warrior general, their very best, who had a part to play in the killing of the last Jatha of Singhs, with great ego steps further in the battlefield, charging, heading towards the fort. He charges the fort, climbing a ladder rapidly. Such bravery he is showing in the battlefield. Thinking of himself as the best warrior in this war, armed with a sword, a thick, heavy sword and a shield, he climbs the wall. Guruji, seeing him, takes a Nagini tir and strings their bow, and Guruji calls out to Nahar Khan, pulling their powerful bowstring right back to their ear. Guruji fires their bow, their deadly arrow, travelling fast like a snake and ripping through Nahar Khan's armour and chest and exiting through his body, flying on at speed. Nahar Khan, their greatest warrior, just like that, drops dead to the earth with a mighty thud, sending shockwaves through the Mughal Pathan forces. The Guru just decimated our great warrior in a split second. And seeing their mightiest general killed, many Mughal Pathan forces shake with fear. They all had hopes in Nahar Khan. He was their inspiration, and the Guru killed him just like that. With Nahar Khan in charge was also the famous and notorious Khwaja Mardood. And seeing Guru Gobind Singh Ji holding their deadly bow, Khwaja Mardood is filled with fear, and he hides right up against the wall of the fort. The coward hides, scared to step out in the battle, and scared to advance further, scared of the great Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And in Zafarnama, Guruji describes this moment, and describes the moment they saw Nahar Khan on the battlefield and blessed him with an arrow. Guruji also mentions how the so-called brave warrior Khwaja Mardood was scared to fight in the battlefield and hid like a coward by the wall. Guruji says he did not enter the battle like a brave warrior. If I had seen his face just once, one of my arrows would have dispatched him to the abode of death. Many great warriors were killed by the Guru. Many thousands of corpses lay lifeless on the battlefield due to the Guru's arrows. Guruji is firing many arrows, releasing them at different speeds, so many arrows are landing at the exact same time and taking whole lines of Mughals out with them. Gairat Khan awakes and in great anger charges towards the fort with all his forces, scaling the wall. He is also shot dead by an arrow of the Guru, sending the Mughal Pathan leader crashing to the ground in a heap, his dead body folded over itself. Khwaja Mardood at this moment, still scared, still hiding, flush against the wall. The Mughal forces plan another mass attack, sending a wave of thousands of warriors at once, planning to end this war in this one mass attack. Screaming their battle cries, they attack in unison, their battalions screaming Ya Muhammad, Ya Ali, Allahu Akbar as they move forward, firing as they do. Warriors on both sides are covered in blood. The bodies of dead warriors and horses litter the battlefield. There are warriors trapped under dead horses and the bodies of other dead warriors, and they are screaming out, trying to break free. As well as this, there are warriors who have been knocked out cold, and then other dead fighters have fallen on top of them, and as they awaken, they are rising to their feet from under corpses, looking like slain warriors rising from the dead. They get to their feet, take up weapons, and rejoin the battle. Such horrific sights on the battlefield, only the strong-minded can even contemplate being present in such a war. Mughal generals are contemplating how a small battalion of warriors in such a small fort are bringing such terrible killing and murder to their forces in the battlefield, killing many thousands of Mughal Pathans and hill chief forces. As Mughal generals once again gather to have a meeting, another Jatha of fearless Nihang Singh warriors is sent forward by Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj to storm the battlefield on their horses, and wherever they charge on the battlefield, they are bringing death. At the Qila itself, Mughal forces scale the walls, and Singhs are chopping off their fingers and hands as they climb, hacking off limbs and crushing their heads and piercing their helmets, sending them all from this life. Piles upon piles of dead bodies at the bottom of the wall, rivers of blood flowing. Oh, such a scene. The Singhs in the battlefield are looking for death, hacking and chopping Mughal warriors clad in black clothing, and seeing them how they die on the battlefield in pain. Look at how the Singhs are fighting and breaking through ranks, killing Mughals, and see the Mughal Pathans turn their backs and run. From a distance, Mughals fire on the Singhs, afraid to face them man to man, breath to breath, face to face. They fire from a distance, and the Singhs are Shaheed in the war, eventually falling after taking out many dusht. Now, Sahibzada Baba Ajeet Singh Ji, the eldest son of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, whom has been killing many dusht with arrows and bullets, now is eager to enter the battlefield himself. Baba Ajeet Singh Ji now approaches Pitaji and Matha takes before them, touching his forehead on the feet of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Standing up before the Guru with his hands folded, Guruji asks, Putra Ajeet Singh, tell me the truth. What is your request? What is your wish? Baba Ajeet Singh Ji responds, Guruji, my only wish is for your blessing. Bless me to fulfill my dharmic duty as a warrior. Like the elders before me, my wish is to enter the field of battle, to do away with these hordes who dare approach this fort. I wish to smash the faces of the enemy who in great ego have come to wage war against you. Listening to his son's request, Guruji is very happy. Blessing his son, he tells him, go into the field of battle and destroy the enemy. Fight a Dharam Judh, a righteous war against them. You are the great grandchild of Sri Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji. You are the grandchild of the great Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Fight in this battle in such a way that your elders are praised. Take with you a Jatha of Singhs and go forth in the battle. Guruji tells the Singhs, go do the actions of warriors. We are a race of warriors. Kshatri ko puta ho Brahman ko naha. We are the sons of warriors. We are not the children of Brahmins. Jab avagiyo the nidana bane atahira na main tab juj maro. And our great Lord Vaheguruji, please be graceful and bestow upon us this boon, that whenever our end comes, that may we die fighting in the thick of battle. Guruji is telling Baba Ajeet Singh Ji about Abhimanyu, that he was your age when he fought in his great war, and now it's your turn to show the world and history what a warrior looks like. And as a warrior, fight in the battlefield and kill many enemies, face the enemy in battle, do not turn away and nor back up 1 inch. Never turn your back on the enemy. Fight and die in the field of battle. The fearless warrior hero Baba Ajeet Singh Ji is ready to go into the war. He has loaded a quiver full of deadly sharp arrows. He has a gold-hilted sword in his belt, and he is looking so deadly with a killer bow in his hands. In Baba Ajeet Singh Ji's Kamrakasa are numerous shastras, including armour-piercing daggers and knives. The Singhs are all armed with the very best of weapons, looking so deadly. Baba Ajeet Singh's eyes are filled with great jar and excitement to go into battle. They say their final fateh to the Guru and do parikrama, walking around the Guru. The young Sahibzada bows his head, and the other warriors are all blessed by the great Guru to go into the battle. And Baba Ajeet Singh leaves the fort like a great tiger with his Jatha of Singhs, looking so menacing, such warriors whom words will never do justice. By Alam Singh Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's personal attendant and Gravai is part of this Jatha, a Sikh whom his whole life has been spent serving the great Guru, day and night by the Guru's side. Such great affection and love he had for the Guru, and the Guru had for him. They shared many a laugh together, and Guruji loved him deeply. The highly trained by Jawahar Singh is also there in the Jatha of warriors. By Dan Singh is fully armed and ready, and by Sukha Singh enters the battlefield clutching a jungi, deadly looking Ram Jangar large gun. Veer Singh stalks the battlefield with the band of Khalsa warriors. As the Singhs move into battlefield, they kill many enemies, moving in formation, killing many soldiers and warriors. A handful of warriors killing so many, tearing through the enemy formations and spreading fear and panic through the Mughal forces. Mughal Pathan generals are being shot off their horses, and they fall like acrobats, spinning and flipping as they fall, slumping to the ground. Their corpses litter the ground. Kavi Senapati in Sri Guru Soba describes Sahibzada Baba Ajeet Singh entering the battlefield, saying, "In an instant did the brave warrior survey the war zone, and in a threatening voice did he challenge the army of oath breakers, calling them out, saying, 'Those who wish to die, come forth.' Gripping his bow tight, such terrible arrows of death did he rapidly fire. Whomsoever the arrows hit dropped dead instantly. The arrows of Baba Ajeet Singh Ji ripping through the enemy forces, tearing through their shields and their armour and their chest plates and helmets, picking off famed warriors who have come to earn their reputation and fortune, killing them without effort. Many great famed generals have been slain, moving through the enemy at pace. Baba Ajeet Singh Ji presses forward. Such a great commotion did the young Sahibzada cause on the battlefield. Zerda, seeing a small band of Khalsa warriors doing so much damage on the battlefield, leads a great charge against those warriors. Running out of arrows, the heroic Ajeet Singh Ji flings his bow to the ground and dashing forth with the spear, wreaking havoc in the enemy ranks. With great agility and speed, advancing in the battlefield, such a terrible killing is he doing on the battlefield, such an incredible fight is he putting up, violently killing the enemy, stabbing his spear in the throat of great generals. In an instant do they shed their arrogance and die, slaughtering the mightiest of enemy warriors. So many corpses upon corpses did the young Sahibzada pile up in the battlefield. Rivers of blood gushing forth. Such a sight. Such a terrible killing did the Singhs do with their spears. Such a bloodbath did they cause. Baba Ajeet Singh Ji dashing the enemy warriors to the ground, and with his muscular arms picking up an enemy Pathan on his spear, holding him up high. Such a display of power. Everyone on the battlefield is looking on in horror, causing them all to remember God. Such havoc and killing the Khalsa are doing on the battlefield. Mughal battalions are afraid to come close. They fire volleys of thousands of bullets and arrows at the Jatha of Singhs. The Singhs are hit many times and are dripping with blood. They fight on, jatkaing many warriors on the battlefield, killing them with one blow, pressing forward in the battlefield, using Bentra, superior footwork and tactics, running through many lines of warriors and cutting back through them, flanking in and out of the warrior ranks, fighting any warrior within arm's reach. Surrounded by the enemy, the Khalsa warriors are still chopping them down, causing such death with their spears. A giant warrior steps forward from the Mughal side, covered from head to toe in metal armour, and in great ego he shouts out a challenge, stepping forwards towards Baba Ajeet Singh Ji. Babaji with a spear strikes him through the mouth and it exits through the back of his head. He is killed instantaneously. All his ego and armour did nothing for him. The young Sahibzada dealt with him in seconds. As Babaji is removing the spear and pulling it back out, the Barsha breaks in two. Flinging the shaft of the Barsha at the enemy, Babaji unsheathes his sword and chops at the enemy, killing many a warrior, leaving them in pieces. The Mughals are firing and shooting Babaji with many bullets and arrows. It is impossible to count the number of wounds on the body of Baba Ajeet Singh Ji. Soaking wet in blood, Babaji fights in the battle. The more Babaji's body is soaked and dripping with blood, the happier he gets, proclaiming in this battlefield about how good it is to fight in such a war and live up to the warrior title. Babaji has decapitated many enemies on the battlefield. Bhai Alam Singh Ji has killed an immense amount of warriors also, moving in and amongst the Mughals at speed, dancing through them, hacking them to bits, being shot hundreds of times. He attained Shaheedi along with the other Singhs in the Khalsa Jatha. Being Shaheed in this great war while chopping and killing the evil enemy who dared ride against the Khalsa. The warrior Sahibzada fought alone, surrounded by enemies now. So skillfully did he wield his sword, slaughtering the mightiest of warriors. Brave Sahibzada is outskilling and outfighting a whole army, decapitating them and slicing off arms and legs at will. In the thick of battle, Babaji's talwar is broken and Babaji switches to his qatar and continues the bloodbath and massacring of the enemy. Covered in blood, the young Sahibzada's face looks like it's been painted red. He smiles on the battlefield. Anwar Khan from a distance is shouting out to the forces, "Capture him! Capture the son of the Guru!" Baba Ajeet Singh Ji, hearing this, turns towards Anwar Khan and charges him down. Doing a mighty jump, he jumps on the chariot, pouncing upon him like a hungry tiger, straight out of the jungle, and he shreds him apart with his qatar, disemboweling him and leaving him in two pieces in a pile of his own blood. At this point, all the Mughal forces rush forward at once, stabbing the Sahibzada with long spears and hacking at him and chopping at him with their great swords. Babaji is Shaheed in the field of battle. Kavi Senapati writes, the brave Sahibzada, after waging a war like no other, finally attains Shaheedi. His soul departs from his body, concentrating on the lotus feet of the divine Guru, uttering the sacred Shabad, Vaheguru. Vaheguru, the great warrior is welcomed in Sachkhand as a warrior arriving home. Both Kavi Senapati and Kavi Santokh Singh write in their granths that Baba Ajeet Singh Ji's body was nowhere to be seen or found on the battlefield. The Mughals could not find his body. And watching his elder brother fighting and give Shaheedi in the battlefield, Baba Jujhar Singh approaches Guruji, Guru Pitaji, and asks for their divine blessing that they too may enter the battlefield, that they too may fight as their older brother did. And watching his brother fight and attain martyrdom, the young Baba Jujhar Singh Ji with his Jatha of warriors enters the battlefield. Leaving the fort, they shower the Mughals with bullets and arrows. With no care for themselves, they fight in battle, slaying many warriors. Such bravery and courage they fight in the battlefield, chasing down the enemy and moving through them with ease, jatkaing many warriors, leaving them in pieces, hacking them apart. It's impossible to keep track of where the Singhs are as they rapidly move through the battlefield, fighting with reckless abandon, so bravely moving through the enemy and chopping them down, evading the enemy blows, landing their own in the thick of battle, causing such a killing, stacking many bodies and then jumping over them to kill others. The Jujhar warriors killed many warriors, like crocodiles in a river, decimating anyone foolish enough to get close. The Mughals fire again, thousands of bullets on the Jujhar Singhs. Each Singh is hit multiple times and they are all bleeding profusely. The warrior Baba Jujhar Singh, fighting so aggressively in the battle in full biras. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, watching their son fight in battle, is so happy, so pleased. The way their son is striking down the enemy with such skill and such bravery, how ferocious, causing such drama on the battlefield. The Mughals chanting Mar, Mar as they close in on the Guru Sahibzada. The warrior Jujhar Singh chops them down, cutting them in two. It's raining blood and arrows. The noise of many guns firing at the Sahibzada, it's horrendous. Such a mighty fight is he putting on in the battlefield. Switching between many weapons, the Sahibzada is decimating the enemy. Words will always fail to even describe this. Getting surrounded, the Jujhar Singhs is Shaheed, being shot to pieces, but the fearless Sahibzada cuts through the forces and chops them down. Everyone is lashing out wildly in the hope of cutting the young warrior. Baba Jujhar Singh's level of skill in Shastra Vidya is immense, outskilling the most famed and trained warriors. Baba Jujhar Singh's level of skill is immense, outskilling the most famed and trained warriors, Mughal warriors, and he's taking on multiples of them at the same time, and he's wiping the floor with them, cutting them and chopping them down. Battle drums, dole and horns are still sounding. The warrior forces are in shock at this warrior, Baba Jujhar Singh, as he wreaks havoc on the battlefield, killing many of these huge, giant, skilled warriors. Such power displayed on the battlefield. Baba Jujhar Singh fights on till his last breath and his last drop of blood. Baba Jujhar Singh Ji attained Shaheedi on the battlefield. Having killed thousands, Babaji now themselves is Shaheed. Babaji's body, like the body of the older Sahibzada Baba Ajeet Singh Ji, is nowhere to be found on the battlefield. It too has disappeared, as the Mughals look for it, because they want to take it back to Aurangzeb. They want to disrespect the body of the Sahibzade, but they can't find the bodies. The bodies have disappeared from the battle, and they later reappear for Bibi Sharan Kaur to do the seva of the sanskar, the funeral rites of these Khalsa warriors. And in this way, Akal Purkh Vaheguru has kept the large in respect of the Sahibzade and their bodies. Vaheguru wouldn't let the beadabi of the Sahibzade's bodies take place, so this took place in the battle. And in this way, the two older Sahibzade of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj have attained Shaheedi in the Battle of Jamkaur, along with many other warriors in the thick of battle. This draws us to an end of this episode of the podcast. And in the next episode, we shall hear about how the great Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj honours the Khalsa, and we will hear how Guru Sahib leaves the fort of Jamkaur Sahib as begged to do so by the Khalsa. As always, bol chuk maaf karna. Please forgive my many shortcomings and mistakes, as this is just a humble attempt to share our great unparalleled history with my beloved brothers and sisters and family members. Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.